Welcome to 90 Terabytes of Alternative Gaming with your hosts, Taylor
and Q.
Nuclear launch detected.
90 Terabytes of Alternative Gaming does not represent the views of WWSP, 90 FM, or the University of Wisconsin school system. The views expressed and the information given in this broadcast can be used at the sole risk of the listener.
Listening to this broadcast is guaranteed to increase your wisdom by 5 points.
The Enrichment Center is required to remind you that you will be baked, and then there will be cake.
Hey, listen!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of 90 Terabytes of Alternative Gaming with me, Taylor, alongside my co-host,
Q.
and we are a video game news, culture, like talk show, everything about gaming thing. And we do this every week. Yes. Anywho, sorry, my brain's just frazzled today.
Yeah,
all right. Well, we're supposed to tell you right away that we don't represent anyone else's views,
Yes,
just ourselves.
Our opinions are purely our own. They don't belong to anyone else, whether it be id Software, ZeniMax Media, anybody. Our opinions are purely own. They do not reflect WWSP 90 FM, the UW system, UW Stevens Point, the UW Board of Regents.
Jesse Ventura.
Yeah, Arnold.
Arnold.
Anybody else, our opinions are purely our own. They're wrong sometimes. They're right lots of times.
We're more frequently right. No horn tooting here, but we also use the internet, I guess.
Yeah, we use the internet. And
It's not like we're doing our journalism on our own here.
I mean, we do a little bit of journalism. I mean, it's not really investigative journalism.
Yeah, we're not getting the scoop anytime soon here. Anywho, though, do we want to get started with something? We got a lot of MMO stories. Do we just want to basically isolate it down and do kind of a little MMO show here for the beginning?
Yeah, sure, that works.
All right, well, one that we've been talking about a lot is the Old Republic, but I feel like before we get to that, we should talk about Galaxies, just because we're not going to have anything
Star Wars
else.
Galaxies.
Coming to an end.
Sadly,
being
after
replaced.
many years, it's been out for...
That many years.
Yeah.
I don't know, we can
long
use the
enough
internet and tell you later,
We
but...
can't even tell you. Yeah, but Star Wars Galaxies is an MMO created by Sony Online Entertainment.
Which means it was victim of the hacking that was so talked about a ways back. But, and they're shutting down because the Old Republic, I guess, doesn't want any competition.
Because LucasArts technically publishes, makes both the games.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, because obviously anything Star Wars is LucasArts. And Star Wars Galaxies, and Empire Divided is the name of the game. And it is created for Microsoft Windows. I believe you can only play it on Windows. I don't think you can play it on Macs. Developed by Sony Online Entertainment and published by LucasArts. It was released in June of 2003.
2003. Wow, that game has been going strong for a while.
It was announced on March 2000. So it's been out for a very long time. Games don't normally last this long, especially MMOs.
Yeah,
World
but
of
I mean...
Warcraft, obviously, the exception, which I believe came out in 2004.
Mm-hmm.
But they've definitely revamped the game, each expansion, like
a lot. Yeah, that game has just received essentially overhauls as time goes on.
They announced, I believe this year, at the start of this year in May, that they would be being destroyed.
Yes.
They would be announced June of 2011. They announced that they'd be shut down on December 15th. And they decided to do something very, very cool for all the players and all the people who have played it and all that stuff.
They're doing a big old finale boom thing. And it sounds crazy.
They're actually going to make it where the end of the game is actually how the players decide it. So the two sides are actually physically going to fight for the end of the game.
Yep, there's going to be a
I would like to see
complete
the Empire actually
civil war.
blow up planets. That would be pretty cool. Because Star Wars Galaxies is based in the movies, the modern movies. That's the storyline Star Wars Galaxies is based in. But with Star Wars The Old Republic coming out and so many people signing up for it to get ready to play it.
There's no way it'll be able to compete.
Yeah, there's no way it would be able to compete. And as it's been growing, I don't think World of Warcraft's going to compete.
Probably not, but I think
But the
WoW's
next-
already accepted that.
The
Yeah.
next World of Warcraft, Blizzard, Enterprise, whatever they decide to put out, it's going to be the competitor.
Yes.
And they'll be the only two competitors.
Which I'm really surprised there hasn't been even like an announcement of the game. Like, I know we're not expecting
They're
anything
waiting for
huge
the
yet.
actual release of the Old Republic to announce anything about Project Titan.
I guess, but wouldn't it almost be better? Well, I guess they don't want to be swept away in the hype of the Old Republic being like a couple days away.
They want people to see the Old Republic, analyze it, figure out all the bad stuff, put all the bad
and then
stuff
say
on the
we're going to do all
internet.
that right.
Exactly. Because what they're doing is Star Wars, the Old Republic, isn't really a next-generation MMO. I mean, there is no real next-generation MMOs. All the MMOs that are coming out are still the same generation as Star Wars Galaxies.
Mm-hmm.
The games aren't really putting anything massive into it. Guild Wars 2, another game we're going to be talking about here in a little bit, another MMO, comes up with a lot of really cool ideas, but I'm still feeling that the games... They're still stuck in the same rut of quest, kill big thing, quest, kill big thing, kill big king, kill big thing for the next 5 years of your life.
I guess, but I mean, what kind of overhaul could you even do to that to make it be a game that goes on forever, other than just making it be purely PvP focused?
Well, no, I'm just saying there's nothing they added to it besides that, and we don't know what they could add to it. Maybe they're not able to.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the true question is we didn't think about first-person shooters until the first-person shooter came out.
That's true.
I mean,
Yeah,
we didn't
there's
think
always-
of the first
there's always
MMO
something
until
around
the
the
first
corner. It's
MMO came out.
unforeseeable.
All these games, there's literally games that transcend to the next level, and there hasn't been out of these. And I know there's people out there in the listening world that obviously are going to disagree with me that the new MMOs that are coming out now are next level, but I played the Old Republic.
But you're not allowed to say that
It
much.
brings a lot to the table.
Yeah.
But it's not another generation above.
But, I mean, how do you necessarily define generation? Because it sounds more to me like you're actually describing genre. Like, a change in genre is one thing, but a change in generation, it's not like the PS2
When,
to the PS3
when
suddenly
multiplayer
meant
was
they
added
needed to
to
change the
first-person
disc
shooters.
system.
When multiplayer was first added to first-person shooters.
When multiplayer's first added to first-person shooters.
That was a generation change.
I wouldn't call it that.
Really?
I would call that more of an era change, but it wasn't like going
What's
from...
the difference between an era and a generation, then?
Well, we already have this like mindset, at least in gaming, that generations are like your lineup of consoles at the time. PC's always been off the side of it because you don't get, a new PC once every 5 years. But your generations tend to be like PlayStation 1, N64, and the Sega Dreamcast,
Well,
and
yeah,
then
of course, it's
eventually
gonna
you
be
move up one more
each,
level.
Each history of the consoles is going to be a generation. I'm not arguing
Exactly.
that.
And I think, I don't know if I've necessarily heard generation used to describe PC games just because it's such a strange one. Instead of having like hard set generations, you have more of a slider. It works more on a gradient level.
Okay. Well, I guess you can put it that way. The interchangeable word of generation and era.
Yeah.
But generation, of course, is more
Yeah, it just has
applied to
connotations.
each generation. Obviously, we're in the 7th generation of gaming consoles right now. The 8th generation coming out soon with the Wii U, which will be the first of the 8th generation.
With none even announced for the rest of it yet.
Yeah. PlayStation 4. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's not going to be announced. I don't think it's going to be announced next E3. I do not think so.
Honestly, I don't know if... Well, they kind of have to, but they can kind of coast a little bit, I think, on the fact that they are by a pretty decent margin the strongest of the consoles right now in terms of actual power.
Yeah, they are, because, back to what MMOs are, there are a few MMOs that are on the PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
Would be Final Fantasy, and I believe there's 2 other ones.
Aren't
Really,
there 2 Final Fantasy MMOs now?
I think there are.
Okay.
I think another one.
Oh,
came out
wait.
not that long
No,
ago.
there was another one that was supposed to come out, and then I think it lost all its funding.
I don't know.
Yeah, can't be certain. I don't play a PS3
If you
MMO.
know, and we don't, obviously, yell to us on our Facebook page, 90 Terabytes of Alternative Gaming on Facebook. Like us if you want to. If you don't want to, that's perfectly fine. We're not affiliated with Facebook in any shape or form.
So many disclaimers.
Yes, the disclaimers of public radio.
They're taking over our show.
But, what can we really see that's going to bring something new to the MMO world?
Well, you actually have a story on this that I think that'd be a decent tie-in, kind of, and it's not necessarily like, an overhaul entirely, but it is something that you would never have seen in MMOs before, and that's the concept of an esport within an MMO, which people are talking about the Old Republic as a possible one, mainly in the fact that, visually speaking, everything has its action shown. So you can watch and fully know that guy just dodged that attack and then did a counter.
There is no auto attack. You can't run up to someone and just click on them and it'll hit them. Unless, of course, you have something tied to your mouse button, then naturally you're going to hit them when you click them. But that's besides the point. Of what they've showed us that I can talk to about the Old Republic is they put a lot into the PvP. There's a lot into PvP. And World of Warcraft tried this, but it didn't start out with that. World of Warcraft didn't have real PvP until I believe like patch 1.5 or patch 1.4. So it was a good period of time since the game came out till it had good PvP.
But it wasn't really the norm back then anyways.
Exactly.
So.
It's another groundbreaking different thing. Like I was saying, is like you got to bring something
Didn't
to it.
RuneScape have it before then?
Yeah, but
it's not groundbreaking.
I
not
know,
groundbreaking.
but in the terms that World of Warcraft puts.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean,
no, RuneScape was horrible.
There were arena teams.
Yeah.
No, I mean RuneScape did its job.
RuneScape
It brought people from the young children age to the ideas of next level video gaming. Every video game has its purpose.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't argue that every game does. Every
game that makes money, every game that makes $1 has to have a purpose.
I guess, yes. There has to be something that'll set it apart from the
like
hordes of
like
other
we
games.
talked about before, Oregon Trail and SimCity had a purpose to teach, and they were also really, really fun.
Yeah, they were a blast. And you also learned that you were gonna die if you tried to make that cross-country journey.
Yeah, most people died going to across the Oregon Trail and Yellowstone Trail and all those other ones. I mean, people died, lots of them. And we learned that. But with World of Warcraft, it transcended the next level that, oh, hey, look, if I do well enough playing this, I can become someone awesome. And that's what Athene did. Athene is pretty much the level of the highest World of Warcraft person name out there. And if you've seen someone playing World of Warcraft professionally, arena time, like anything arena or battlegrounds, you've seen Athene. This I believe he's Finnish or something. I don't know. He's Scandinavian. He's European. I can tell you that. But all he does is play the games. He makes videos showing how to be the best. He was the first person to level 70 and stuff, and he obviously sort of kind of cheated. But he
sort of kind of cheated.
Yeah, they made it
cheated just within their parameters.
They made it cheating after he figured out that you could. Yeah, so he's the first person to do it. It's not technically cheating.
So he just broke the game rather than actually cheating.
Yeah, he got to level 70 in like I think 15 hours.
Jesus. Wow.
So
wow.
It was level 70 or level 80. He had a group of 40 people fall. He tagged things. He hit things once, and then a group of 40 people would kill it for him.
Oh, wow.
And he just did that.
So he just ran around the world smacking stuff?
It's pretty awesome. But you got this next level of, battlegrounds that they're putting into the Old Republic. They're building it into the whole game.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to be one of the more central focuses rather than like a side game now.
Yeah. I would call it a central focus as it is right now. But, of what I've played of it, can't really say anything. I mean...
But from facial expressions, which I don't think violates your non-disclosure agreement.
You can say my facial expression.
I think you can say that you're not quite satisfied.
I'm not quite satisfied in the level they're saying he's.
Okay.
It's nothing to what a World of Warcraft arena was. Nothing.
But wasn't World of Warcraft arena? It was team focused, right?
It was 2v2, 3v3, or 5v5.
Okay. And this just doesn't have the teamwork. You don't think? Or you can't say that. I guess
15 on 15, 20 on 20, and I think. Maybe more, I don't know. But as it is right now, obviously I haven't done it with a guild, so I can't tell you how it is like a guild. Because doing guild things, especially Guild Battlegrounds, which they added, I believe, this expansion for World of Warcraft, were awesome as a guild. Because you all got on event, you all yelled at each other, you swore at each other because one person was sucking or not doing the best, or somebody was doing incredible. You were all talking to each other, and I haven't had that experience on the Old Republic yet.
Yeah.
But I know I've been putting my guild together for the Old Republic already. With a lot of people who wanted to make a group. I didn't. I had other people tell me, hey, you should make a group. So I'm like, okay. And we've been slowly putting this together, and I mean, it's really fun. I mean, the Old Republic Battlegrounds are really fun. But are they on the level of eSport yet?
But, I mean...
What do they say all in that article completely?
In this article, all they really mention is that now, because everything is visually translatable... You can see, I use dodge as an example, but in this they're saying, like, you don't need to know, you don't need to look for, like, the word parry popping up over someone's head or anything. Yeah, you just see them parrying a blow. And they just think that makes the fight a lot more visceral, which would make, from a third party, it would become much more entertaining, I would think.
That makes sense, and that works. I see that being, pretty nice.
Yeah. But, I mean, also there's no real way to make any claim on that until you have people sit there and try to watch it.
I can't say any more about it.
Yeah. Because I gotta say, like, games like... It surprises me how much fun it is for me to watch, like, a cast of a StarCraft 2 game. Even as I'm not, like, a huge StarCraft 2 player, those are very fun to watch. And it doesn't seem...
so good at it.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem at the surface to be a game that when you watch it would be that incredibly entertaining. But it really is. And I think that some games kind of surprise you with that. And...
Yeah, we'll wait and see.
Yeah, it could be very possible. We'll see what people also do with the Old Republic, because if people start figuring out like really interesting strategies, those are going to be things that are going to be really fun to see.
Strategies are totally cheap. The ones that
It's
people use
basically
right now.
just like cheesing all the game. Just
It's not that fun when people do that. And like you get a good match in every once in a while, and that's really fun.
All right.
My bounty hunter.
All right, well, speaking of all of this whole, like, all these different ideas for PvPing, Guild Wars 2 seems to be taking, like, not quite the opposite, but a very different approach to it. Rather than trying to make it more of a spectator-friendly thing, it's making it into a whatever you want it to be kind of thing. Every player will be able to set up their own arena of PvPing, where, like, any player can be like, okay, I'm gonna run and manage this arena, and then you can like password lock your arena, and you can have certain like basics. They're thinking basic settings for it. We're not really sure if it's gonna have like mod support or not, but if there is mod support, that'd be something that manifests itself really big there.
Yeah, but then you really couldn't. Well, I guess you would. You just wouldn't put it in the rated. You just wouldn't rate it.
Yeah, no, it would just be like when you play, the tower defense games in StarCraft or something like that. It's just something different that people do with the game. And I could see with a game like Guild Wars that being really fun, actually. People would like make little meta RPGs and stuff like that, I'm sure, which people seem to enjoy. And I know I've played a few of them. It was never really my scene in games, but they're always really well thought out and normally pretty original and fun. Which, I mean, as a developer, I don't really see why you wouldn't want that, because that's just guaranteed longevity being injected right into your game. If people can make something of themselves, it'll entertain them a lot more because they made it. And so it's going to have exactly what those people were looking for. By the way, what are you looking at over there? I'm confused.
It's talking about the whole idea of it, and actually what they've done is they've done a little thing even more differently. Is you actually have a separate PvP exclusive character that does not affect PvE play. So you have a separate character. By what people are saying down here, the possibility to create a PvP only character who is already buffed up. You don't actually need to create a character who is playing PvP. If you play PvP with your PvE character, it's going to be maxed to level 80 with the best skills, gears, and weapons.
I think that's an interesting way to do it.
It's an interesting way to do it, but you can't rate that because everybody's the same.
I guess.
And
Plus,
it's not an MMO.
well, I mean, they're the same on their attack strength, and I think it's making it more of a... I don't even know what genre I would put that underneath, but it almost turns it almost brawlery, which sounds interesting. And once again, I mean, but it's super side gamey.
Yeah, it is.
Which is one thing I think that PvP doesn't want to be, I don't think, if we're to, call something the next generation of MMOs, I think PvPing would have to almost become just a part of the central experience. Like, actually, an RPG that is not quite an MMO, but did you ever play Demon's Souls?
No.
I have some friends who are, like, very into this game, and I've played it a fair bit, but the way that they work PvP into this is... You can trap, like, normally you're by yourself, and you can get one person to work with you. And it has to be, like, a friend, and you have to, like, leave a call sign to them, and they come into your world. But also, you can invade someone else's world to try to kill them instead of help them. And so you'll just be running around, just, like, la-da-da on your own map, and suddenly you'll get, like, a notification that someone's joined your map, and then someone will run up to you and try to kill you. And it's always a possibility as long as...
It's like an MMO?
It's not quite an MMO. It's, for the most part, single player, but they have interesting little elements of MMO. Like, if there's another person who's playing the same map somewhere, because you're connected to the internet the whole time, you can see, like, a little, like, ghost version of them, and they'll leave, like, little, like, stains on the ground. They're called blood stains, and if you walk up and activate it, you can see how that person died. So then you know, okay, I don't want to run around that corner, because I just watched this guy run around that corner and get rocked. And it's just it's odd, but it's I think the most integrated I've seen player interactions come into this kind of game.
Yeah. So
I think if an MMO could figure out a way to make PvPing come off a little bit more like it did in that, I think it would be the best way for it to be. If it were actually a regular part of the game rather than being like your sporting side of the game or whatever, I think it would make it a lot more, I guess, appealing to at least me. as an outsider.
Oh. Yeah.
Wow,
Any
it is
other-
almost top of the hour.
Any other stories laying in front of you?
Well, I wouldn't quite call League of Legends a MMO, but I mean, if we want to
It's not
throw
really
this in
MMO,
here,
but we're talking about PvP.
yeah. And I would actually say, you know what, a game like League of Legends is what I would say is the closest to how I would describe the arena play in Guild Wars, rather than it being,
It might be like that.
yeah,
And they might be trying to do that to bring in the League of Legends people.
yeah. But I don't think you're going to be able to beat the League of Legends people because of things like this that they're saying, where the people who work at League of Legends are calling their non-paying players incredibly valuable. And they're trying to entirely overhaul their entire system to focus on the fact that they want players and not customers, because they know if they keep their players happy, then they will buy whatever they want to make the game a better experience for them. So rather than focus on going, hey, give us your money, they're just trying to present the best gaming experience they can, in their own words at least. And they think that just as a natural side effect, you're going to have people who are going to want to essentially be like, okay, yeah, and then I will pay for this because that's helping my gaming experience, rather than it being, I have no choice, I have to buy something from you. Which is interesting. I don't think it'd work on a huge scale, but I think it's refreshing to see. There are a lot of people who play. I would call this one of the biggest free-to-plays that I know of.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know if I can think of anything actually bigger than this that's free-to-play right now.
Neither can I.
Well, no one plays those Battlefield free-to-play games and stuff like that. I can say, to the extent of my knowledge, this is the biggest free-to-play game out there.
Yep.
And I think
Team
probably this
Fortress-
attitude is why.
Team Fortress is bigger.
Oh, because Team Fortress stole that, basically.
Yeah.
They went free-to-play.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest free-to-play games, and I think that the reason that they're like that is they actually have, I would say, a similar attitude to Valve, in that I think they focus on the game itself rather than gaining customers. And I've never played a huge amount of League of Legends, but I can't throw a rock without hitting a League of Legends player. And everyone who I know who plays League of Legends swears by it. They're proud to be a League of Legends player, which is something you don't see out of a lot of games.
Yeah, that's true.
And
That's
it's
very
awesome.
true.
Yeah, and I think that they're really onto something when they say, if we make a game that is a better game, not, something that's, trying to milk you of your money, then we're going to end up with, enough loyal customers or loyal players. They're trying to move away from using customers to describe the people playing their games, and instead saying players, because they don't want to, apparently, once again in their own words, they don't want to try to make it seem like they only care about those who are paying for their game. Which, it's all honorable, but I mean, also, I guess, no matter what with these kind of things, it is a company saying it. So, I mean, you have to take it with a grain of salt. You never want to be just like, oh, they're a saint among gaming. But it is a very cool thing. I like it.
Yeah, it is. It is quite cool. Do you want to take our break?
I think we can take a little bit of a earlier break since we just knocked down most of our MMO and PvP stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of do a grab bag for the second half.
What do we have laying behind me for music here, sir?
We're going to play something from Family of the Year is what they're called. Another new CD here in 90 FM.
From Terrorbird.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
The album's name is St. Croix, by Family of the Year. We're going to start, I guess, you want me to play the first song right off the album?
Yep.
Yep, St. Croix, the title of the album, the title track, by Family of the Year here on 90 FM, your only alternative.
Oh,
Cut you off again.
yeah.
You can either call us if you want to talk to us at 715-346-2696, 715-346-2696. We'd be glad to talk to you about pretty much anything. Well, the song is on air. And you can also talk to us on the Facebook wall, 90 Terabytes of Alternative Gaming, if you want to. You don't have to do either of them.
We can't command you.
Yep. So here is Family of the Year with their song St. Croix here on 90 FM, your only alternative.
Para videojuegos.
90 Terabytes of Alternative Gaming does not represent the views of WWSP, 90 FM, or the University of Wisconsin school system. The views expressed and the information given in this broadcast can be used at the sole risk of the listener.
I mean, let's face it, the opinion of these two guys is about as pristine as Wikipedia. After all, their source is the internet. And now, back to the show.
Welcome back to 90 Terabytes of Alternative Gaming here on WWSP Stevens Point.
Yes.
That's 90 FM. This is Taylor alongside,
Q.
and we are, in case you're just now joining us for some reason, we are a video game talk show. We focus on the newest games coming out, gaming culture, people who are big in gaming, stuff like that. The general grab bag of gaming. I'm using that word a lot today. We have to say we're not affiliated with anybody else. We also do not represent anybody else.
Our opinions are purely our own. They don't belong to anybody else.
Not a single person.
Not anybody else.
Other than that, I think we're pretty much good on the legal end of things.
Yep.
So I think as long as we have this whole thing where we were talking about League of Legends describing their own customer service, as long as we're looking at developers in their own words, I want to real quick talk about Gabe was doing an interview with who was actually doing this interview with him.
We're talking about Gabe Newell, the creator, owner, awesome man of Valve Software.
Very large man.
Very large man, larger than life itself.
Also, I've seen a picture of him with a minigun, and it was hilarious.
Yes. He's a very big man. He created Valve Softworks a long time ago.
Yep.
1990s sometime.
He was involved in the first Half-Life 2, right? In the first Half-Life, sorry, not Half-Life 2.
He created the company.
Okay. I'm just making sure. I didn't know if he just popped in.
Nope, he created it.
All right, well then, yes, that's him. But we were talking about how, it's nice to see people focus less on customers and more on making a good game. And that seems to be exactly what he says. He, in his own words, says that he thinks not sucking is a way more important thing than... I tried to paraphrase that and ruined it. Okay, in exact terms, it says, I think not sucking is way more of an important thing to pay attention to first, rather than a premature monetization of a game, which he calls the root of all evil. So that seems like a little bit of an extreme claim, but, I mean, he points to things like Dota 2, which they've claimed that they've sat around and just played this game, like, all the time. Like, they will finish working all day on Dota 2, go home and play Dota 2 with each other. And he's just been saying that it's a result of literally a few of the people who are big in the company just being a really big fan of the people who made the first one. And then just saying, yeah, let's make the next one, rather than making, in his words, a incredibly deeply reasoned business strategy. Yes. So that's him. That's what he does. We talk about Steam all the time.
Yeah, we do. Steam is pretty much the behemoth of the entire, major
PC gaming
online
right now.
PC gaming, everything. It's now you can get on PlayStation Network now, so on your PlayStation you can play. I believe almost every game that's going to be coming out from Valve, actually Valve Software, will be working. You can play with people on the PlayStation and on the computer at the same time. And they just talked about the new Counter-Strike. You'll be able to do that also. That's going to be
You're going to be able to do beyond that. Apparently, it's going to be just most of the platforms are going to be able to do like a melting pot in the casual mode.
So if you want to play, he's probably thinking, if you want to play on your Xbox and your friend play on their PlayStation, you want to play the new Counter-Strike, you'll be able to play together.
Yep.
Even though you're on different systems, you'll be able to play together. And that's huge, because it's never been done before, and they did it first, like we were talking about with Portal 2.
Yes.
And it worked fairly well, except for PlayStation Network going down.
Yeah, that was horrible timing.
Yeah, horrible timing. But it worked really well, and Gabe is going with it. Valve Software is going with that, and they're going to make it where every system is going to work together.
Which is awesome. I think that having someone from one console,
and it's
essentially...
a third party.
Yes. But, well, I mean, it's barely a third party, though, at this point, because he is essentially...
Valve's still a third party.
I would call them practically tied straight to PC, though. Like,
okay.
I can only think of one thing, and I just learned this today, where the console was bigger than the PC for their games, and that was apparently with Left 4 Dead. Supposedly, Left 4 Dead was huge on the console, and, it was pretty dang big on the PC. I mean, it's still got a pretty big community, but supposedly more people bought it on the Xbox, or the Xbox 360, than did for the PC, and that's, I think, the only game that he had listed. Even though Portal 2 had huge advertisements for every single console, it still ended up being bigger on the PC than anything, and that's just a common trend, I guess.
Half-Life was on PC, and then Left 4 Dead was just huge on the Xbox.
Yes.
It's just massive. I mean, I know tons and tons of people who played Left 4 Dead on the Xbox.
Yeah. Though I would say, actually, interestingly enough, I think the more, like, sluggish nature of, the controls on that made that game more balanced. Because the normal game, if you were playing as zombies, if it was a perfect team of zombies versus a perfect team of survivors, the survivors would trounce them every time. Just every single time, because they just... If you can shoot something in the head and instantly kill it, and you're good enough to shoot it in the head right away, you're going to win. And by not having people be able to have that quick snap motion that they had with their mouse, it made the zombies have way more of a chance and actually shifted the balance completely into the direction when you play on the Xbox.
Yeah, that's true.
Which was cool. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know where I was going with that, other than... Oh, Counter-Strike, actually, what I took from that when I was reading the article, I think it's also going to be from PC to console. But I also was reading...
They were saying that you could play...
From anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually.
And I also saw, though, that they had casual and competitive modes, and I would assume casual is where we're going to see this cross-platform play for the most part. Because I can't imagine someone playing competitive...
We've had this conversation many times.
Yeah, and it's just I can't see being that much fun, but also competitive mode, it says...
Well, it would prove that the people on the consoles would be moderately inferior to those that are playing.
But the thing is,
PC.
the way that competitive is going to be doing it is going to be doing something very common in games these days, and it's going to essentially be bracketing you. So it's going to be trying...
It'll bracket you into your own console, and then if
well,
you
I don't
want
even know
then
if it
you
would necessarily be console.
And then you could probably, if you want to, break out of the console.
Well, I mean, I would see it being, even if it weren't bracketed into your console, I would see essentially, PC and Mac ending up close together, and PS3 and Xbox 360 also ending up close together. So you'd still probably see some, meshing of the consoles, but mostly the input method is what I think would end up naturally segregating everyone.
Yeah. One thing about Gabe, real quick, for those out in the listening world, Gabe was a dropout from Harvard University, worked at Microsoft for the first 3 releases of Windows.
Really?
And then went to create the Valve in 1996.
96. When did Half-Life actually come out? Was that...
First Half-Life, probably 97 or 98.
Yeah, I think it was 98.
Yep, 1998.
God, that's a long time ago.
And him and the other co-founder funded the entire company through the first game themselves. Yep. Very, very cool. And then obviously skyrocketed and exploded into...
Absolutely exploded, yeah.
Now.
They're pretty much the spearhead of PC gaming now.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I think that's pretty much...
260 employees.
How many now?
260.
Wow. Holy cow.
As a privately held company in Kirkland, Washington.
By the way, speaking of Steam, and a move that's, I don't think in any way that shocking, but Call of Duty has decided that they're officially going to be through Steam. Even if you buy a regular tangible copy at the store, you will have to activate it through Steam, and all multiplayer will be through Steam. And I think they're basically now just trying to get all the people who don't want to go to Origins.
Yeah,
which is a good move, kind of.
Which is a very good move.
Yeah, because I think there's a lot of people out there who just do not like Origins.
Yeah. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 will be on Steamworks, so obviously through the PlayStation Network, it'll also be through Steamworks, I'm assuming that's what they'll do.
Yes.
It'll use Steamworks. Retail copies can use it also. As they had mentioned before, that there'll be dedicated servers for those who are on the PCs and the Macs. Yeah, that's very, very cool idea that they came up with there. Yeah. I mean, I was expecting them to do that because of the huge backlash that Battlefield had from all their stuff that was related around Origin. Yeah, very cool to see that they're doing this. It's still going to be a massive war between the two games.
Absolutely. I just don't want to see it coming down to that. I don't want two games to end up, instead of being judged on their merit as games, to actually end up having, one game win over the other because more people wanted to go to that digital distribution method. That just seems a little odd to me. I don't know. Or not odd, but it just seems like it's a little bit of a bummer rather than having two games actually, have essentially a showdown and be like, which game's the better game? It end up being, how many people can we convert to Origin?
Well, I don't know, because even they're stating on here, Steam, you'll be able to preload it on Steam like you've been doing with other games. Will Origin have that support? So will these people be able to play a little bit earlier?
I would like to think Origin's going to be smart enough to do that.
Will the servers on, Steam work on Origin? Will the servers on Origin work on Steam?
Dubious,
yeah,
I would say.
We don't know. Yeah.
That. All right. Do we want to do Minecraft Corner? Because
We
we've
can-
actually seen 1.8 a little bit now.
We can do the Minecraft corner / other indie game corner.
Yes, because we have some Project
still have
Zomboid
no
news as well.
cool intro for it out there in the listening world. We would like an intro if you'd make us one. 'Cause we don't really have time.
Let's just push the effort towards you.
If you want to make an intro for this part of our show, please do. That would be very awesome.
All right, but you actually got to see this video. I was in the booth here, so I didn't get time to watch it. But what did you think of? We saw some video from PAX, which, by the way, what does PAX stand for?
PAX stands for
Something that the internet is going to tell us.
It doesn't sound like it stands for Penny Arcade Expo.
Penny Arcade Expo. Really? Penny Arcade does that?
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome, actually. I didn't know that.
Yep. It's a annual gaming festival in Seattle and Boston. PAX was created by the two guys who created the Penny Arcade webcomic.
Which is an awesome webcomic.
Yep. If you read webcomics, that is one of them that's up there. Yeah.
But yes, we saw a play of 1.8. I can't remember who exactly it was. It was someone at one of the bigger gaming.
Notch.
It was Notch who was playing it?
That was Notch
Okay.
who was playing and talking.
All right. Well, then, yes, we saw Notch playing, and we saw a bunch of little things come through. I only got to see a brief little bit. I got to see the new kind of softer lighting method that they were implementing.
Yep, they fixed loading times with that too. There will be no more lag changing between day and night.
Yep.
Very cool things that hopefully will transcend in the multiplayer. May or may not.
You mean
know.
transfer?
Transcend into. It was in the single player, so transcend into. I was right.
I think transfer into would have been better.
Both work. But we saw lots of cool things, Minecraft related. So we know we have quite a few listeners that play Minecraft and talk about Minecraft a lot, including both me and Taylor here.
Yes,
play
and I
Minecraft
plan
a
on
lot.
not doing much else after this comes out for a while.
If they give us NPCs and other related things, which they may or may not. He was saying that he might split the patch that they have made already into 2 patches.
Why?
Because
Why?
the second part of the patch is not fully complete, and he doesn't want to give somebody something not fully complete and then break the game with bugs. Because we know how many bugs there is going to be.
But we've been waiting for this so dang long.
The game's not even out yet.
I know.
We're waiting for a patch to the beta of the game.
Yeah.
And people are complaining about it.
Well, it's because he's hyped it up so much.
Exactly. He's hyping his own game.
Yeah.
Actually, I believe the biggest game of this entire year, which I believe has sold more copies than I'm assuming many, many, many other games will.
Yeah, well, I
probably
mean,
only 2 games that
he's
will outsell it.
advertising. He's
3
advertising
games.
on a world market, which is very different for most games. Most games kind of have to try to.
Call of Duty is
specify.
not on the world market.
Absolutely not.
Battlefield kinda is.
I would say more
Skyrim
than that.
is.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, Minecraft is on the world level. It's an indie game. It's as big as an indie game could possibly be without not being not an indie game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he even had an offer for somebody to come buy the company.
And he said no.
He said no, because he wants to be a publisher of indie games. He
Yep.
wants to give the money to the indie publishers. And I mean, look how much money he's given. I mean, especially when we were talking all that
The
stuff.
humble indie bundle.
The humble indie bundle.
He'll just
so
throw money
much
at
money
it. Yeah, he'll just throw money at it.
Oh, you want $2,000 fun dollars? Here's $2,000 fun dollars. Oh,
Yeah.
somebody outbid me. Here's 2,005 fun dollars. Oh, so I gave you 4,005 fun dollars now. What? Somebody outbid me again. Here's 4,000 fun dollars. I'm like, yeah, that's perfectly fine. He
And it's not
doesn't
like he's only done
pay
that
for
once.
groceries anymore. He's a married man now. I mean, he has a lot of money.
Yeah.
He made a lot of money from Minecraft. I'm believing the other employees at Mojang also did make a lot of money
Yes.
from Minecraft.
Absolutely. And it's, you know what, honestly, I think this
And they're
is pretty
so
much.
lax about it. They just
Oh, yeah.
don't care.
Yeah.
Even the music guy was like, I don't really. I sit in front of a piano and press buttons and people give me money. Woo! I mean, that's what he literally said in a Twitter post.
They're all, like, it's not even just lax. Like, they're all, like, almost. The only word I can think of to use for this, and it's such a dumb word, is, like, snarky about everything on this, too.
Snarky?
Just because, like, I can't defend it fully, I guess, but.
I guess snarky works a little bit. I mean, but they just don't care.
Yeah, they absolutely
They've made
don't.
the biggest game of the decade, and they don't care.
Though Notch has literally basically become, like, the first, has essentially become the first, like, gaming philanthropist. Like, his money doesn't really go other places
there
that
are other
much.
people that were gaming philanthropists.
I do.
Who's the guy who made Fable?
Oh, Peter Molyneux?
Yeah, he gave a lot of money to a lot of games.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess I didn't know that.
Peter Molyneux did, because he did the populist stuff, and it was technically an indie game at the start. I'm betting Gabe's pretty good with philanthropy stuff.
I guess. I guess these
But
guys
they don't
they're more
give
on the
it
front line.
publicly.
Yeah, I was about to say these guys are more on the front line, which actually I guess I would say I'd actually respect it more out of the other two, just because it's nice to see someone give the money and not make a big deal out of it.
Yeah,
but
see,
also
Notch
it is
just got the money.
Yeah, but not only did he just get the money, but he's giving the money to people who also need publicity. And by making a big deal of how much money he's giving to these people, he's also getting news of these people out. So if you give a bunch of money to the Humble Indie Bundle, then more people are going to be like, what's the Humble Indie Bundle? And they're going to go over to the Humble Indie Bundle and end up with the Humble Indie Bundle.
Like we had. We
Exactly.
talked about the Humble Indie Bundle. But not because of him.
No.
There was
So he
nothing-
helped. He helped make it newsworthy.
Yeah, he made it big newsworthy when he gave, free Minecraft away during it. So, yeah, there's lots of really cool things.
Sprinting was in the game, actually, for the 1.8, I remember
He
seeing.
showed sprinting. Notch got killed, I think, by like 3 different creepers and an Enderman. One of the new.
Was the Enderman terrifying, by the way?
He teleported. He was a little scary. He picked up a block as he was teleporting, so it was a little scary.
Wait, he
Might
picked up
be.
a block as he was teleporting?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
What?
Yeah, picked it and teleported, and then he was there and started beating him
Jeez.
with the dirt block.
That's horrifying. That's absolutely horrifying.
Yep. They talked about the new silverfish mob, which we have not seen.
Yeah,
Don't
but
know anything about it.
supposedly what it is like if you break a block, there's a chance, essentially, of a silverfish popping out of it and trying to
Because
kill you.
it's not silverfish like the bug in real life in any.
Well, they're
way.
shaped like it, actually.
A little.
Yep.
Well,
mean,
it's got the
it's-
colors that are like
yeah,
it, but it doesn't. Probably
It's
not
got
gonna...
the general shape of it. I've seen the skins. But the main thing is basically it's like a very, very, very large version and possibly different looking, depending on who you're subscribing to here. But version of a silverfish that will occasionally, like I said, pop out and just try to kill you. And apparently all the skins were included in the last update as like framework for the next one, so that's how people were getting looks at it. But that wasn't included in the video at any point? They didn't actually see it?
Didn't show it at all.
Okay.
He didn't even mention it.
Did you see any NPC villages at all?
Yep, you see the NPC villages, but there was nobody in them.
Oh.
Which he said there probably won't be when the patch he gives us. That'll be the next patch after that.
So we'll just get... Oh, that's actually going to be interesting. There's just going to be ghost towns all over the place. That'll be odd.
Yeah.
Has he said where he wants to draw the line for where it'd be split?
The NPC villages are in the hands of Jeb right now, not in Notch's hands.
Okay. But we will be getting, like, the new biomes, like the mushroom biome, and be getting, like, the giant mushrooms,
The
all that kind of
rivers
stuff.
and
Yep.
big deserts and
Adventure mode in general.
oceans and creative mode and other cool things like that. Yep.
Very cool.
Yep. Done talking about Minecraft. Minecraft corner.
Yes, well, we're going to still stay in the indie game
Yeah,
corner,
we're still
though.
in the indie game.
And switch over to Project Zomboid, a game we haven't been able to talk about in a while because nothing has happened. Because they
Yes.
weren't sure they were going to be able to make their game.
Yeah, they were a little worried, and they're doing the same thing that Minecraft did. Is you can pay for the game now, and you get to have it when it comes out, but you pay less now than you would when the game comes
Yes.
out. So I believe I paid €8 fun dollars.
Eurofund.us.
Euro dollar, fun euros.
Fun
8
euros.
fun euros, which I believe was. Oh wait, no, it was like 5 fun euros. I think it was $8 or something here.
$8 here.
Yeah. So really cheap. If you were looking for a really fun game that both of us really liked, it's not even out yet, not in any shape.
But it
or
did
form
get
out.
its first official update now.
Not its first official update, but
Really?
first update in the past 3 months.
Okay. But and that's a big deal because for a long time it wasn't even available for purchase.
Yep.
But apparently a very small distribution company that I think I have been on the website of once, if it is the company that I'm thinking of. They're called Desera, and they kind of help pull them out of the ashes a little bit. And
along with the help from Steam and a few other people.
Yep, a bunch of people really helped them out, but Desera is going to make them available. It's available for purchase on Desera, and if you already bought it, you can activate it through Desera now. But if Desera is what I'm thinking of, I think it is one where you can literally have your account follow specific developers and stuff like that. It was an interesting thing to me. It looked like it'd be really cool only for indie gaming. Because that way you could be like, oh,
Desera
Indie Stone made
is
another
built
game.
for indie gaming, unlike Steam is built for every big game.
Yeah. But, so we got an update then, too, which supposedly is not huge. I think we saw a couple new NPCs, some modding support, and I think that might pretty much be all. Did we even get any new weapons?
No, but you can make your own weapons.
Like, beyond making Molotovs?
Yeah,
or...
I mean, you can make... No, you physically code them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you
okay,
can do
I
all
guess
the mod
it's
support
modding
now.
support. Yeah.
Yep, I messed around with the modding support just a little bit to just talk about it. You can pretty much do whatever you want. Whatever you want.
Which is really what the game, I think, is intended to be in its final stages.
Yep.
Eventually, I think they're heading towards a game where it's literally like, just enjoy the zombie apocalypse however you want, and then have just a bunch of crazy stuff you can do.
Yep. Huh?
All right. Well, I think that is pretty much all there is to say about it because of how small the update was. I just think I think the whole Desero thing is pretty cool, and maybe I don't know, maybe Desero will actually be useful now. I'm probably gonna use Desero for my version of the game, and see if it turns into something that I actually want to use because I think
I don't know.
that would be a cool idea at least, just to have a big hub of indie games that doesn't end up getting polluted. Because I think the worst I've ever seen. I looked at the indie section of the Xbox Live Arcade, and it is like one of the worst things. I saw 5 Minecraft knockoffs.
Isn't it expensive to be
5.
on there?
Huh?
Isn't it expensive to even get your game on there?
I think it is, which I'm sure is one reason that it's kind of iffy. But once again, 5 Minecraft knockoffs, and they were like the top-rated stuff. And then like everything else just looked really bad. I think there were like 3 games that were interesting. I can't even remember what they were. They weren't that like awesome looking. I didn't see anything that looked appealing at all. Whereas, and then Steam has pretty interesting indie games. But I feel like something where I can actually look at indie as not just a genre, where I can be like, these will all be indie games. I'm going to look at indie shooters. I'm going to look at indie RPGs. I'm looking at indie adventure games. Would be a really interesting concept. So I'd like to see Desero be something I can actually use somewhere in the future.
Very cool.
All right, I think you got pretty much all the rest of the stories.
I do have pretty much all
For
the
you.
rest of the stories. The Elder Scrolls Skyrim, the new one, the brand new one, Elder Scrolls. Lots and lots and lots of people played. Oblivion and lots of people played. Morrowind. Both of them, I believe, are games of the year from a lot of people. Skyrim's obviously probably going to be. It comes out the 11th of November, along the same time as Minecraft, same time as Call of Duty, and the same time as Battlefield. All of those games come out right around that same 2-week period.
Which I will say will make Game of the Year competition pretty interesting.
Yeah, we will do our vote here.
Yeah, because I think
with
having...
lots of people.
Personally, I think Battlefield 3, Minecraft, and Skyrim are going to be insanely close. I mean, those are all massive games. Just massive games.
Minecraft counts this year because it's being actually physically released this year, not when it was announced, and actually the first update came out in 2009.
Yes. It has been around for a while.
But it's been in development for those 2 years, so naturally it is not out yet.
But I gotta say, one thing cool that came out of the way that they're doing that is the concept of basically pre-order funded gaming, where if there's enough interest in your game will be made.
Notch never sold a game.
Huh?
Notch has never sold a game.
I know. The people have just pre-ordered game.
Exactly.
They've bought like the hope for the game. They basically, not quite, what's it called? Those words that business people use.
There's lots of business words.
It's when you give... Wow, I can't believe I'm brain farting on this word, by the way. But it's when you give a company... Invest. It's essentially... Wow, man. Gosh.
The word invest.
Yes, that's a tough word. It's a tough word. But no, it's essentially like investing in the game more so, because you're basically just saying, yes, I want you to continue making this game, and then as a casual prize, you get the game when it finally is made. But I think that's an interesting way to do it, just because, I think it makes it slightly less risky, I think, for an indie gaming company to try to make a game, because they can just kind of throw it out there and be like, are you interested in this? Throw us some money. We'll start working on it. And then games can explode like they have, or games can fizzle rather than just be a giant flop like you see with certain games like, what was that, Deadliest Warrior or whatever it was? Or no, Rogue Warrior. That's what it was, the Splinter Cell knockoff that I saw $1 billion of advertising, or $1 billion fund dollars of advertising for, and then it sold like 8 copies.
Yeah, well, it was a good segue. But Skyrim,
yes,
will
Skyrim.
The DLC will be coming out first for the Xbox. 30 days before the PC.
Microsoft signed a deal.
All the other consoles that are going to get it, Xbox gets it first. But the Xbox obviously has had first ones for pretty much everything. Microsoft pays a lot for these exclusive things, and I know a lot of people who are getting it on the Xbox.
Yeah.
A lot of very good friends that are going to be getting it on the Xbox. I will obviously be getting it on the PC along with you.
Yes.
Because
I haven't pre-ordered, actually. I'm going to go do that, probably today.
probably should do that.
Yeah. I'm really hoping... I'm actually interested in the DLC for this because they've actually talked about it, and we're probably not going to get horse armor again.
They said that they're actually going to give us big updates to
Yeah.
the game, not crappy little updates like horse armor, or hey, look, one building in a big city, or hey, buy this for $10 fun and you get to use a telescope. That's
Yeah.
pretty much all some of those were.
I mean, if you consider the bigger DLCs like Shivering Isles and I guess Knights of the Nine, those were, I think, pretty well thought out. But I want to see something. I mean, I would call Shivering Isles the best, actually, out of everything they did. But I want to see things closer to how they handled it in Fallout, where you end up with an entirely new, like, relatively large map that you just go to, and then you have an entire... It's like having essentially a sub-game get put in where you carry your character into it, rather than just small additions to an existing game world.
Yeah. All right, and then we have one final story I believe we can talk about. One from one of our listeners wrote on our Facebook wall, telling us to talk about the new 3DS things that have come out, because the ambassador system, when if you bought the 3DS before a specific date,
you
get
got
all
the
these
extra
free
games, right?
free games, and there are 10 free NES Virtual Console games on September 1st or before their general release. These include The Legend of Zelda, Balloon Fight, and Ice Climber, and 10 more games from the Game Boy Advance
Balloon Fight, by the way? That's awesome. That's really awesome.
Well, Legend of Zelda is pretty awesome, too. And Game Boy Advance games like Yoshi's Island, Super Mario Advance 3, Mario Kart Super Circuit, Metroid Fusion, WarioWare Incorporated, Mega Micro Games, and Mario vs. Donkey Kong. I don't know a couple of those, but a lot of them are the big franchises from Nintendo. They won't be available anywhere else, so... Yeah, if you bought a 3DS before everyone else did, you can now laugh because they're not going to get it for free. You get all this free stuff, and they're also...
But they are getting the Game Boy itself for substantially cheaper.
Exactly.
Since the massive price cut.
Yeah, a massive price cut. I believe it went half price or something.
Did it go half?
I think...
It dropped a lot. I mean, the president took a pay cut to make this thing go down. It better be going down a fair bit.
Yeah, but 3.6 million people bought it before this thing, so... Kind of sad that, the ambassador program, it's really cool. I mean, they have a lot of really cool games in there. Wrecking Crew, another one. Ice Climbers, Tourney Golf, Metroid, Zelda 1 and 2, Super Mario Brothers. Lots of very big games from Nintendo in this gigantic grab bag. I used it too, of
it's viral.
Gaming. So, I mean, if you bought a 3DS, I would love to hear more about it on our Facebook wall. That'd be really cool. 9 terabytes of alternative gaming. Tell us what you think. Are you really angry at Nintendo, or are you happy that they're getting all these free games for the price that you were going to buy it anyway, but now getting it for so much cheaper? What do you think about it? I mean, the 3DS, it's a big console. It has a very
big-ish.
Cool breaking game things. So yeah,
breaking game things.
Game breaking things.
But what that. But anywho, I think we're pretty close to done. Getting tongue-tied a lot today. You got plenty of time? Do we have plenty of time?
Yeah, like 5 more minutes-ish.
We got like 3 minutes, but we gotta play a song.
We gotta play a song.
Yes. I see you got a few things on Facebook there, though. Does someone want us to talk about anything else?
No, just different group things that are on here.
All right, well, we will be around for a while afterwards, so you can call or Facebook us and chat about whatever things for next week's show.
Maybe if you want to come on to our show, give us a message.
Yes,
we might have
we're
you come
always
on.
looking for guests.
We could, maybe not. I don't know. We'll make the decision talking to you. You got a cool idea? Pass it on to us. You got something awesome that you want us to do? Pass it on to us. We got to mention right here, right at the ending, our 2 sponsors here in Stevens Point, Wisconsin. We have our 2 sponsors. Tech Lounge LLC right downtown Stevens Point at 1036 Main Street, Stevens Point, Wisconsin. The Tech Lounge is a game center coffee house right next to the city bus stop. Can't really say that much more about it because we're a public radio station, but if you want to, you can obviously
check them out on Facebook / I think they have their own regular website as well.
Yep, if you want to, that's Tech Lounge right in Stevens Point. And we're also Gaming Generations is also right down, not downtown, but off to the side
just off Division.
by Kmart on Division Street. Their address is 135 Division Street, Stevens Point, Wisconsin. 54481 for both of them, obviously, if you're looking for the area codes for the 2 of them. Gaming Generations is you are able to buy video games and trade in video games.
It's like a smaller owned GameStop essentially.
Very cool. Both places are very cool.
Very awesome.
If you want to, you can obviously check them out. That's Gaming Generations here in Stevens Point and Tech Lounge here in Stevens Point are both sponsors of 90 Terabytes of Alternative Gaming here on 90 FM, your only alternative
For gaming.
For gaming.
I had to throw it in.
Throw it in there.
It's reflex.
Yep, this is the end of our show. We hope you really loved it. If you didn't, that's sad, and I really wish you would have.
We apologize, though.
If you did love our show, you can like either our sponsors or us on Facebook. We're not affiliated with Facebook. We're not affiliated with them technically either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're sponsored by them.
We can have conversations on Facebook. You can give us all the things you want to give us to talk about. Also, we're going to be playing a song here. We'll be in the studio for a little bit longer. You can give us a call if you want to talk.
715-346-2696.
Yeah, 346-2696. We're glad to talk about pretty much anything. Video game related, obviously.
I'll talk about anything. If you want to talk about anything else, I'll chat.
But, yep, so we're going to play Family of the Year once again off their advanced EP, St. Croix, with their second song on their album, Living on Love.
Yes.
That works, sir?
Yep.
This is Q here in the air chair.
And Taylor.
And we're signing off. Thank you for listening to 9 Terabytes of Alternative Gaming on 90 FM, your only alternative.
For gaming.